Ms. Kentish Rogers. PS Education, Dr. Bonnie Richardson Lake. Education officers and staff of the Department of Education. Chairperson of the Anguilla Social Security Board and staff of the Anguilla Social Security Board. Former director of the Anguilla Social Security Scheme, Mr. Dr. Timothy Hodge, Mrs. Hodge, and other members of the Hodge family. Members, Mrs. Webster and other members of the Webster family. Finalists of the James Ronald Webster Essay Competition. Other special invited guests. Members of the viewing audience here and those viewing via social media, good morning. At this point, I invite all to stand. We are assembled for the recognition ceremony for the awardees of the Mr. James Ronald Webster Essay Writing Competition 2022 and 40 years of Social Security and service of Dr. Timothy A. Hodge. At this point in time, we'll start with the raising of the flags by members of the Anguilla Cadet Corps, the national song, and prayer.
Let us pray. Father, I praise you for this ceremony and for your purpose for it. We know that when we gather together, you always have a divine plan, that even when we have done what you have asked, the results are so much greater than we could ever have imagined. Our prayer today is that your will be done through this event. Take what we have prepared and multiply our efforts as only you can. Direct our plans to align with your righteous will. Remind us of your faithful provision when our efforts have failed us or fall short. May all glory go to you when all is said and done. Cover us with your peace today, Father. Keep us physically safe and guard our hearts and minds from pride and selfishness. Keep love at the forefront of our minds today. In Jesus' name, amen.
You may be seated. The American Republican Party at one point had a philosophy: a government that governs least governs best. Now, while I do not subscribe to that philosophy, I do apply the logic and the thinking behind it to chairpersons of ceremonies. Those who speak the least do the job the best. But I do want to say a hearty welcome to everyone. It's not my task to deliver the official welcome, but I think it's fitting nonetheless that I say that as a chairperson as well. And I want to remind us why we're here. We're here to show our appreciation for the hard, dedicated work of our students who participated in the James Ronald Webster essay writing competition, and to deliver the results of that competition, as well as to award those deserving of awards. We are also here to acknowledge 40 years of Social Security in Anguilla, and in particular to shine a spotlight on the service rendered by Dr. Timothy A. Hodge. And I think it is fitting that we do these two events on this spot. The late James Ronald Webster was the embodiment of national service. His sacrifice and leadership has impacted all of our lives, irrespective to whether we were born in Anguilla or migrated to Anguilla and now call it home. We live in a society today that was shaped by his vision, by his endurance, and by his commitment and perseverance, that this rock, irrespective to how barren, can produce a livelihood for its people. So at this point, I invite the Honorable Miss Deanne Kentish-Rogers to deliver the official welcome remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay, that was great. Everyone's just waking up. It's my pleasure to be here this morning to welcome you to this recognition ceremony for the awardees of the James Ronald Webster Essay Writing Competition and 40 years of Social Security and Service for Dr. Timothy A. Hodge. And since my CEO has done part of my job already this morning in welcoming you, I also will not be too long. The Ministry and Department of Education have been fortunate to facilitate this essay writing competition that aims to keep the legacy of the late father of our nation alive. It is a reminder that while life may one day be over, legacies will live on forever. And I turn to a poem called My Legacy by Lucy Maud Montgomery. My friend has gone away from me, from shadow into perfect light, but leaving a sweet legacy. My heart shall hold it long in fee, a grand ideal calm and bright, a song of hope for ministry, a faith of unstained purity, a thought of beauty for delight. These did my friend bequeath to me, and more than ever these can be, the worthy pattern for a white, unmarred life lived most graciously. Dear comrade, loyal thanks to thee, who now hath fared beyond my sight. My friend has gone away from me, but leaving a sweet legacy. And as many Anguillians living under the shadow of the late father of the nation's legacy, we may have never seen him in person. And as the CEO has said, but we are living the Anguilla of his legacy. And so this morning and today, we recognize the sacrifice made by the father of the nation, and we pay homage to writing down his legacy and keeping it in our thoughts, our prayers, and our lives from now and to eternity. So with that said, I'd like to welcome you to the recognition ceremony for the awardees of the James Ronald Webster Essay Writing Competition and 40 years of Social Security and Service for Dr. Timothy A. Hodge. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for those opening remarks. For those of you under the tents, you might not recognize it, but we have two flags that are flown above. We have the national flag, which was just unveiled or raised by the Cadet Corps. You might have realized that the revolutionary flag was already flying. That was due to a technical difficulty with the flag, okay? We know protocol is important. We don't want to send the wrong message, all right? But we do appreciate the efforts of all who made this possible. And please, at this juncture, put our hands together for our young people, the Anguilla Cadet Corps. I invite the audience to stand with me, and those of you listening or viewing via social media to do the same as we observe a moment of silence in memory of the late Mr. James Ronald Webster. Stand with me. Thank you all. We will now invite Mrs. Cleopatra Webster and the Honorable Premier, Dr. Ellis Lorenzo Webster, to lay a wreath. And we're going to ask the audience to stand at this point as well, at this time as well. And you will take your seat once again when this activity is over. Thank you all. You can take your seats. At this point, we invite the first runner-up of the primary school's calypso competition, Miss Aliyah Webster Robinson, to perform for us. She'll be performing a piece that was written by Mr. Courtney Martin.
It's what you want it to be. Every chapter, every line must be carefully designed. Make sure it speaks of you each and every time. Your service to humanity without seeking a return. Your walk towards nation building must be known by everyone. Choose truth and honor over hatred and envy, because today's footprints will create your legacy. Create your legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we could do a little better than that. Should always be generous with our applause, particularly with our children and young people. They tend to exceed our greatest of expectations, and we have a lot to be proud of in this country. So, Miss Webster Robinson, well done. Well done. We now invite the Honorable Premier, Dr. Ellis Lorenzo Webster, to deliver some brief remarks.
Protocol already established. Good morning and happy Webster's Day to all. Mrs. Cleo Webster, it's always a pleasure to see you, and certainly you've brightened up the day today. It seems that whenever we have Webster's Day, the sun shines no matter what was happening the day before. So thank you for bringing blessings to us. I too want to thank Ms. Webster Robinson for such a wonderful rendition and song. It sends the message, doesn't it? Create your legacy. Kind of in keeping with what I was going to mention today, although somebody mentioned brief whenever I come up to speak, and I heard some of the audience stress the brief, so I'll be brief today. You know, it is said that life is a series of events and a man is a product of his environment. This starts chapter 5 of the autobiography of the late Honorable James Ronald Webster in his book, Revolutionary Leader. And today we are here to honor the legacy of the Honorable James Ronald Webster, the father of the nation, a man who had the vision to leave a good place where he was in St. Martin to come to Anguilla to make a difference, to make a change. When he saw that St. Martin, when he had gone there, was in a similar state to what Anguilla was in, when that was developing, he came back to Anguilla to make things possible, to provide opportunity, to help a people that had, where he was born, where he was raised. We're also honoring the students who participated in the James Ronald Webster essay contest. And certainly, we must say that 20 years from now, that these same students will probably be standing, some of them, one of them in this position that I'm in right now. That is the legacy of what Mr. Webster would have said is this bit of far-flung West Indian rock. You heard the CEO, Chief Education Officer said, that Anguilla always punches above its weight. Its potential is beyond what you see on paper or what you see in the street. And today we also honored Dr. Timothy Hodge. Congratulate him on obtaining his PhD from the University of Virgin Islands for his dedicated service. Thank you. To the Anguilla Security and also to Anguilla. Make a difference. Mr. Webster said there were days when I would wake up and not want to continue, but the love for my people and of my people kept me going. The thought of the young men who endangered their lives and endured imprisonment for the cause, the women who suffered ridicule and injury, and sacrificed their time and effort for this undertaking made the burden easier to bear and the road smoother to travel. I feared for their safety more than my own. A man who was dedicated, who was committed, whose legacy will live on through the ages. He lies in his grave, but he had wishes in his last days of what he would have liked to see Anguilla progress to. We have not made it there as yet, but with God's help and the strength of a resilient people, proud people, a free people, we will get there. That was Mr. Webster's wishes. He said I could always return to St. Martin and live a comfortable life. I had the means and the connections. The people of Anguilla had nothing but hope and a desire to live better and leave their children a land of opportunity. That is the legacy. And as the young singer said, create your own legacy. When we reach beyond the narrow confines of self-interest, our hearts become filled with energy. And as she sang, when we elevate others' interests above our own, that's when we would have had success. And you may say that I'm a dreamer. To expect that in this day and age when the airwaves are filled with negativity. But I'm not the only one who dreams of a better Anguilla. And as the song Imagine says, I hope someday you will join us and we can all live as one. So the question to ask yourself is not what you want change, but what you like to change. What would you like to change? Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Those were the words of President John F. Kennedy. But they apply today. And change starts with a small act, a small project. Then you have limitless potential. Our young people who wrote these essays, you can see it, those who had the bib, the business basket. Some of what we saw just blew your mind to see that the creativity of students, 4th form, 5th form, 6th form, that potential is limitless. That opportunity we have to provide. That's what the Anguilla that we seek. Mr. Webster saw that back in the 1960s, and even today we have to see that there are these opportunities which exist in Anguilla. We just have to open our minds to it, and we have to put the politics aside and allow ourselves to reach our maximum potential. We have what it takes ourselves to take us where we need to be. In his final message, the Honorable Father of the Nation said, let us rejoice over the good things that we have accomplished and count our blessings, that we had the courage to stand up for our rights and the courage and strength to do what we believe was fair and just for our people. Fairness must be the standard for everybody. The ultimate measure of a man or woman is not where he or she stands in the times of comfort and convenience, but where he or she stands in times of challenge and controversy. He went on to say, it is my honest prayer that such sentiments as sacrifice, hard work and determination to progress that worked so successfully for our struggle during the time of our rebellion may again work for us in these times of economic uncertainty and social delinquency. Yes, Mr. Webster was a visionary. He saw our economic uncertainty. He also saw the social delinquency, and we are plagued now with increasing gun violence and heinous murders which are plaguing our society. And I have called upon the church, I've called upon civil society, I've called upon government, I've called upon us people to care enough so that we make the changes necessary, so that we help our young people to see that there is that opportunity so they don't feel disenfranchised in their own country. Mr. Webster said, Anguillians must maintain self-respect and dignity. Be patient, be loyal, be respectful, be reverent, but never retreat or surrender when the cause is just. Today, on this day when we celebrate the life and the birthday of Mr. Webster, I want to admonish us, those who remain, those who lead, the people of Anguilla. Let us remember the legacy of Mr. Webster, what he stood for, and the vision that he saw for this our beloved country. And may God bless us, and may God continue to bless Anguilla, our island home. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Webster, for those moving remarks and the charge to us as Anguillians. At this point, we now move to the part of the ceremony where we acknowledge or recognize the finalists for the essay competition. So I will invite Ms. Paloma Reese and Mr. Ronald Webster to present the certificates to the winners of the essay competition. That will be followed by the presentation of prizes to winners of the competition, and that will be done by the Honorable Minister of Social Development and Education, Ms. Deanne Kentish-Rogers and Mrs. Cleopatra Webster. Okay? Thank you.
I adopt the protocol that has been established and say good morning to everyone. This particular item on the program is one of the key items, and it is particularly so for our students. So just to give you a little background as to why we are having this awards ceremony this morning. On November 29th last year, the family of Mr. James Ronald Webster, in collaboration with the Department of Education, launched what will be the annual Mr. James Ronald Webster Essay Competition. Students in grades 5 and 6 were asked to write an essay of 250 to 300 words in length on the topic, James Ronald Webster, the epitome of a leader. So today, when Mr. Webster would have made 96 years, we think it's the most appropriate day to present our 6 finalists with their certificates and other prizes. In sixth place, okay, we're going to invite two of Mr. Webster's children, his daughter and one of his sons, to actually assist with the presentation of the certificates. In sixth place, we have Rosani Webster of grade 6 of the Valley Primary School. Randy, go down. Go down. Go down. In fifth place, Sahai Kati, grade 6 of Valley Primary School. Unfortunately, Sahai is not able to be with us here in person, so her father will accept her prize. In fourth place, Lacree Hodge, grade 6, Aurelia Kelly Primary School. In third place, Raina Liko, grade 6, Morris Vanterpool Primary School. Second place, Shamani McDowell, grade 6, Morris Vanterpool Primary School. And our first place winner for the first annual James Ronald Webster Essay Competition is Kathleen Charles, grade 5, Omolulu International School. So all 6 participants received a certificate and a monetary contribution. We now invite the Honorable Premier and Mrs. Cleopatra Webster to distribute the prizes to the first, second, and third place winners, and that is additional prizes. Okay, our Honorable Minister, Ms. Deanne Kentish-Rogers, will assist Mrs. Webster. So their prizes are the monetary contribution and a plaque. So in third place, again, Raina Liko, grade 6, Morris Vanterpool Primary. Okay. All right, just let me make a slight change. Okay, everybody will now receive their monetary contributions. I actually thought they had gotten it just now. So Razani Webster, 6th place. Sahai Kati in 5th place. Fourth place, Lacree Hodge. Hold it. Third place, Reina Liko. It's heavy. Second place, Shamani McDowell. And the first place, Kathleen Charles. All right, so let's hear a big round of applause for our 6 finalists.
You know what I'm going to ask you to do right now? Let us give them a huge round of applause. All of them, well done. And not only the finalists, but all the students that participated in the essay competition. At this point, we have a treat for you. The winner of the 2022 Okay. We'll ask the students at this time to come back, the finalists, if you can come back to the front just briefly, so you can get your, the photographers would like a group shot. Okay, just briefly. And I will keep it brief, so the photographers have to be on par. They have 10 seconds. Snap, snap. Go in front, right there. Yeah, no. Okay. Let me. Take your mask off. All right, thank you all for that. We now invite the winner of the 2022 James Ronald Webster Essay Competition to read the winning essay. Please give her a round of applause.
When any Anguillian considers the word leadership, the first name that comes to mind is James Ronald Webster. Many Anguillians refer to Mr. Webster as the father of the nation. Why was he referred to as such? In this essay, I will explain the three major reasons why. Firstly, Mr. Webster dedicated his life to the betterment of his beloved country. When Mr. Webster was a young man, Anguilla lacked paved roads, proper schools, telecommunications, and a modern airport. Mr. Webster spent the majority of his adult life working to improve these issues. By the time Mr. Webster had retired, the roads were paved, Anguilla had higher quality schools, and most people had electricity in their homes. We have Mr. Webster to thank for these improvements across the land. Secondly, Mr. Ronald Webster led Anguilla through the Revolution of 1967. I have learned that most revolutions around the world have involved violence and bloodshed. It was because of Mr. Webster's leadership that Anguilla avoided an all-out war. Anguilla managed to separate from St. Kitts and Nevis through faith and resiliency without costing many lives. Mr. Webster once said, "Our battle will not be won by force, but by the almighty hand of God." But by your support under the almighty hand of God. Mr. Webster's wise words showed what kind of a leader he was. Because of Mr. Webster's strength and faith in God, Anguilla was able to unify under his leadership and endure great times of adversity. Finally, Mr. Webster established Social Security for Anguillians. Social Security is a program which helps people to have enough money to live comfortably once they have retired. Social Security also helps people with disabilities or sicknesses which prevent them from working. It is important to have Social Security because it supports people in time of need. Mr. Webster helped fulfill these needs for Anguillians. For these reasons stated above, James Ronald Webster was a beloved figure in Anguilla's history. It was because of Mr. Webster's leadership that we have all the benefits and privileges of which we enjoy today. Thank you.
I might need some technical assistance with the mic. Okay. When you don't know. Thanks for that gaffe. Made it really look like I should have known. No worries. All right. I'm really proud of our young people, our children, and their creativity. And that was on full display with all the entries that were received from the students across the island who competed in the competition this year. We want to continue to encourage, continue to pray for them, and continue to provide an enabling environment where they can grow from strength to strength. At this point, we are transitioning to the other half of our ceremony to honor or show our respect an appreciation for 40 years of Social Security in Anguilla and for the leadership of Dr. Timothy A. Hodge. I've known Dr. Hodge for quite some time. As a matter of fact, I think he probably knew me before I could even walk or crawl. I knew back then he knew my mom, so I'm pretty sure he knew me as a baby, if not a baby, a little boy. Both. I couldn't help but notice, though, that when Mr. Hodge was looking for that significant other, that person to walk this life with, he came all the way from Island Harbor to South Hill. I don't know what I should read into that. But we also want to show our appreciation not only to Mr. Hodge today, because behind every man is a great woman and a supportive family. So we want to acknowledge Mr. Hodge's service, but also that of his family. And one of the things I have grown to appreciate about Mr. Hodge is his love and commitment to this island. I've had the privilege of working with many people who've shown nothing but stellar dedication to the development of Anguilla, and he's one of those persons. His commitment is unending. His love has no breadth. And he will give or sacrifice anything to move this country forward. And I do appreciate that. And that should be the mandate, that should be a mandate to all of us, right? To give. And Dr. Lorenzo Webster mentioned it. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So at this point in time, I will invite Mrs. Jacqueline Bryan Niles, the current chairperson of the Anguilla Social Security Board. She will deliver remarks and also present a plaque to Dr. Hodge.
Permit me to adopt the previously established protocol, and a pleasant good morning to everyone. Our gathering here is twofold. Firstly, we are here to pay tribute and respect to the father of the nation, the late Mr. James Ronald Webster, for introducing Social Security to Anguilla. We say thank you for his foresight in establishing the Social Security Act on November 3rd, 1980, and then its operations on January 1st, 1982. It is quite an honor and worthy to note that Mr. Webster's dream some 40 years ago for the people of Anguilla to have independence in their old age through the operations of the social security system is still ongoing. Secondly, we are here to show our appreciation to Dr. Timothy A. Hodge, nephew of the late James Ronald Webster, who served the Social Security Board Anguilla for over 40 years and retired as Director of Social Security at age 60 on January 7th, 2022. On this memorable occasion, it is only fitting to say thanks to Dr. Hodge for so ably ensuring that Mr. Webster's dream became a reality and is even more relevant today as we go through the global economic hardships. Dr. Timothy Augustine Hodge has been with the Social Security system from the inception of its operation in 1981. He was the first employee appointed as administrative officer carrying out the board's policies and worked with Social Security Board and Mr. Calvin Petty as director and Mr. Marcel Foy as chairman. Dr. Hodge was appointed Director of Social Security on April 16, 1986, 5 years after he commenced work at Social Security Office. Today, Dr. Hodge can boast to be the longest-serving officer in the position of Director in the Caribbean. Let us give Dr. Hodge a round of applause. Under his leadership over the years, he requisitioned board approval for numerous initiatives. The latest intervention as part of an organizational transformation, the go-live launch of the first phase of the new Social Security Administration system, Multi-Business Solutions, by Bearing Point Caribbean, which is expected to launch in April of this year. During his tenure, Dr. Hodge was passionate about his staff's education and social development. His appreciation for the arts and culture led to his introduction of the Social Security Staff Sports and Social Clubs. Dr. Hodge, I am sure you had your share of challenges and learning experiences along the way, working with various boards and staff, some of whom are still with the Social Security institution, an employer known for low staff turnover. One may ask, after 40 years, what does that mean for Anguilla's social security system? Today, the Social Security Board has reserves in excess of 400 million EC dollars. The actuarial model on which the system is based is one where income equals outflows. Notwithstanding the noted reserves, the last actuarial review conducted in 2021 by Mr. Derek Osborne of LifeWorks has strongly suggested the need for immediate reforms. These reforms are to ensure that the fund remains sustainable, extending the period of equilibrium where income equals expenditure from 2025 to 2035 and beyond. This is not something unique to Anguilla. The rest of the Caribbean is going through or preparing to go through parametric reforms. And at this time, I would like to invite Dr. Hodge to come forward. So today, we are here at the grounds of the James Ronald Webster Mausoleum as we celebrate Mr. Webster's birthday and pay tribute to say thank you to Dr. Hodge on behalf of the ministers of government, boards, chairpersons, management, and staff that had served with you for over 40 years and the people of Anguilla. A big thank you, Dr. Hodge. And may you continue to enjoy your retirement as you pursue new ventures in your life. Thank you, Dr. Hodge. And now, on behalf, on behalf of Anguilla Social Security Board members, management, and staff, we would like to present this token of appreciation to Dr. Hodge, a piece of Anguilla rock, symbolic of strength, resilience. Dr. Hodge, presented to Timothy A. Hodge, PhD. Oh, get to the mic. Presented to Timothy A. Hodge, PhD, in appreciation of 40-plus years of service to the Social Security Board, Anguilla, February 1st, 1981 to January 6th, 2022. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Brian Niles. And thank you to the Social Security Board. At this point, I'll invite the Honorable Premier, and he will be making a presentation on behalf of the government of Anguilla to Mr. Hodge. So, Mr. Hodge, don't go too far.
So, Tim, 40 years, it doesn't even show, But on behalf of the government of Anguilla, the Honorable Minister for Social Development and Education, my ministerial assistant, the Ministry of Finance, we have the portfolio of the Social Security scheme. We would like to thank you, Tim, for your 40 years of service, for being a pioneer, for actually leading the whole organization. There was no roadmap when you went in there. This was new, and you were able to forge the way to take us to where we are now. And we do wish the Social Security, the board, and the staff, that they continue to do great things for Anguilla, continue to be there for those as they get older or they get sick or disabled, that it stays in place, for all the service you've done, for the unemployment, underemployed benefits during Hurricane Irma and during COVID-19. We want to thank you for your leadership and hope that you continue to do well in your future endeavors. So on behalf of the government of Anguilla, thank you very much. We have a plaque. Courtney, would you read?
Hi, good morning. And the plaque reads, presented to Timmy Hodge, PhD, in recognition of your valuable service to the Anguilla Social Security Board and the people of Anguilla, February 1st, 1981, January 6, 2022.
Thank you. Give it to him. You gotta take this. Yeah, that's that.
Not yet. Soon. All right, thank you, Dr. Webster. At this point now, we'll invite Mr. Stuart Haynes, SVG Social Security Scheme. to deliver a regional perspective. Is Mr. Stewart Haynes with us? Okay. Oh, it's virtual. Sorry.
Pleasant morning to all.
What? This?
It is really a profound honor and extreme privilege for me to join the government and people of Anguilla on this momentous occasion, honoring the legacy of Mr. James Ronald Webster, a nation builder, an icon, a hero. Also celebrating with the youths, the participants and winners of the essay writing competition, and recognizing the contribution of Dr. Timothy Hodge to the development of social security services in Anguilla and the Caribbean region. It is with great pleasure that I, as Director of the National Insurance Services, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, represent the regional chapter of a father, a brother, a colleague, and an authentic and astute leader, Dr. Timothy Hodge. Dr. Hodge has given his life, and also he has given life to regional social security institutions for 40 years in his capacity as the director of the Anguilla Social Security Board. Serving as director is no mean feat. It is an accomplishment par excellence. This speaks volume of the measure of the man, his contribution to the development of social security, not only in Anguilla, but in the Caribbean and the Americas. I can say without fear of contradiction that 40 years as a director is difficult to match, and one must give accolades to Dr. Hodge for this achievement in shaping social security in Anguilla and in the region. During his 40 years tenure, Dr. Hodge has distinguished himself as an effective administrator, inspiring motivator, and intelligent leader. He demonstrated his care and concern for his employees and regional colleagues by encouraging them to pursue various academic courses so that they can proficiently perform their tasks. He was a dedicated and effective lecturer for the Social Security program at the Cavell School of Business. Many of us, employees, students, and colleagues, are eternally grateful to him for setting their academic and professional wheels in motion. Dr. Hodge is renowned for getting the job done efficaciously. He communicates well. He has creative ideas, which he pursues relentlessly to its completion. He certainly has set a fine example of reliability, dependability, and commitment. A page of his book we must emulate to lift social security higher. Over the years of his stewardship, Dr. Hodge's legacy has been characterized by innovative ideas, strategic thinking, and his tireless effort to increase credibility and visibility of the Anguilla Social Security Board in the region and international spaces. These attributes were reflected in him positioning Anguilla Social Security as one of the vanguards in information technology, his crafting of the mission and vision statements of the institution, and the benefits that Anguilla Social Security services provide is benefiting from the relationship that he has fostered with international institutions like the Social Security Americas, the International Labor Organization, and others. This organization typically covers social security globally. Mr. Hodge also served as the coordinator of Subregion 4, which include United States, Canada, the English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean. He was also a vice president of a technical commission among the International Social Security Association. These offices speak volume of the regard with which Dr. Hodge is held in the social security circles. Indeed, he has made a remarkable impact on the ethos of social security and led by example in all he has done. These are inspiring pages that I recommend must be adopted by current and future social security practitioners. By all measures, the Anguilla Social Security Board and other regional institutions have improved under his watch. For instance, he has led and nurtured Social Security Anguilla into a dynamic, sustainable, and agile, people-centered organization. This organization plays a critical role in improving lives and livelihoods in Anguilla. The record shows that the organization, under his leadership, has lifted, transformed, and touched many lives from cradle to grave. For that and many other reasons, the Social Security institution is an indispensable tool to combat poverty and income inequality. Kudos to Dr. Timothy Hodge and his astute and focused leadership of this institution. Given all of his accomplishments scribed in the local and regional social security chapters, I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank him for his hard work and commitment in building and growing the Anguilla Social Security and regional social security institutions to what they are today. Your vision, energy, and devotion to that role will be difficult to match, but you can be satisfied that you have left Anguilla Social Security on a strong footing for those who would follow. You have successfully pared through clouds of volatility and uncertainty occasioned by several natural disasters, hurricane, the financial crisis, and recently a health crisis that morphed into a multi-pronged crisis with economic, social, and political dimension. Also, you have left a positive legacy for regional collaboration and advancement for social security on the international arena. Dr. Hodge, you are leaving at a time where global social security systems are at a sustainability crossroad, experiencing significant financial and coverage challenges triggered by demographic, economic, health, and labor market developments. However, you are instrumental in shaping the song succession plan, robust risk management framework, digital transformation program, and a good sound governance mechanism that provide Anguilla Social Security Board with the resilience, flexibility, and agility to survive and thrive in these perilous times. I will end by emphasizing that his words and actions inspired others to dream more, to do more, and become more. As such, we embrace you as a leader and a legendary in social security fraternity. Your successors are richer because of your many-sided impact on our lives. Congratulations, Dr. Hodge. God bless and success to you in your future endeavors. Thank you, audience, for your attention, and I represent the regional social security systems in my remarks. Thank you, Master of Ceremony. I turn it back to you.
What a powerful testimony of the life and service of Dr. Hodge. We want to thank the Director for the Social Security Scheme in St. Vincent for joining us and participating in the program. At this point in time, I want to, if I do not do this, my colleagues at the Anguilla Youth Business Foundation will not forgive me. But we would like to add our congratulations to Dr. Hodge on his retirement and also on this ceremony where we are acknowledging his service and thanking him for it. In 2013, I invited Dr. Hodge in my then position as Director of the Department of Youth and Culture to assist in the formulation of the Anguilla Youth Business Foundation and to sit on the council. Dr. Hodge has been on the council since 2014 up to today. So we do appreciate his dedicated service. And on behalf of the social economy in Anguilla, social clubs, youth groups, all that he's supported in his position as director, we want to thank him for his unending commitment to youth development across this island, and also to the development of education, because the Department of Education has also worked very closely with Dr. Hodge to implement a number of projects across Anguilla. So we do appreciate that 40 years of committed service. At this point in time, we invite Dr. Hodge to deliver a response. Following Dr. Hodge's response, we'll invite Mrs. Jacqueline Reed, Social Security's Manager of Contributions and Registration, to deliver the vote of thanks. Dr. Hodge.
Thank you, and good morning to all. Protocol having been established. This is truly a wonderful occasion and an appropriate place. There's a time and a place for everything, and I think this is the time today when we celebrate the life and the legacy of the late James Ronald Webster. As was said, my uncle, my mother's brother. And my mother is here today. She's the last surviving of the siblings of Mr. Webster. So let us keep her alive. Like I said, keep hope alive, and he was the last surviving Webster in Island Harbor of that family. I want to especially recognize the presence of the Honorable Premier and the past Premier, Mr. Victor Banks, members of the Board of Directors, current and past, and the staff of the Social Security Board, past and current. As was said, this is an institution that has probably one of the lowest turnover rates of any institution anywhere in the world. And while I mention the world, let me just, before I forget, say that add to the narrative that as far as I have been able to determine, and nobody has yet been able to show otherwise, my service as Director of Social Security is the longest serving in the world. And I thank God for his blessings and his leadership and guidance. I also want to recognize the other members of my family. You would notice that the lady of whom the Master of Ceremonies spoke, my wife Josette, is not here. She's away with one of my daughters who's away in school, and another is away in school as well. So half of the family is here and half is away. The immediate family, my siblings, my mother, of course, and down to my grandchildren are here, and children, some of my children. So I want to also recognize this place, because the record must show at some point, one must not blow one's own trumpet, but sometimes one has to, otherwise other people will claim what one has done. And I worked long and hard to get this spot to be the place where Mr. Ronald Webster lies. And one of these days, his widow would. Because you see, you couldn't very well discuss with him where you wanted to place his body while he was alive. And so I engaged his wife, my Aunt Cleo, and his family, his Polly and Randy, all the children, as to their agreement that this would be the spot. Why this spot? Because of the connection with education. Wherever you turn here, you see symbols of and systems of our education system, UWE, the high school, the junior high school, the Stoner Ground Primary School, the Valley Primary School. And so Anguilla's future surrounds this place. This is on a rock. One of the things that I regret about the actual construction is that it is not visibly on the rock. In other words, when you look here, you see the gravel. But it is on a rock, but because there's a cave under it, they had to put a secured structure under the mausoleum, which hides the rock. But you can see the rock all around you. This is the rock Anguilla, of which others have spoken. And by the way, my sister Diane started a poem, a wonderful poem. He stood on a rock. And I collaborated with her, and we completed it. It's about 19 verses or something like that, about Mr. Ronald Webster standing on a rock. And now he lies here on this rock. But this could not have happened without the support of the Social Security, government of Anguilla, first of all, because the government of Anguilla, you don't just bury people, as you saw last week. You don't just bury people all about the place. You bury people, you give them a dignified burial in a cemetery. And so to do otherwise requires the permission of the government. And we had to get the permission of the government, first because it was government property, and secondly, to have his body lie here. And also to have this spot. The most important part, by the way, of the spot is that it overlooks the James Ronald Webster Park, named after him, where he changed history, the history of Anguilla. That is the most important reason why this spot is chosen. And I will talk a little bit more about it a little later on as well. And then the support of the Social Security Board. And I thought I had seen Mr. Alkins Rogers. Yeah, he's there still? He left. I want to recognize him as, and I think Ms. Bryan was on the board at the time as well, for supporting the idea of the board being involved in Mr. Webster's place of final rest here. As you can see, this is a marvelous edifice. Without equal I have seen anywhere in the Caribbean. And perhaps, totally appropriate for a man who has done so much for this country. And so the support of the Social Security Board was needed and was given. I want to congratulate the essay winners today. There's a time and a place for everything, and some may have said, well, why are you mixing this with the children? I am pleased that I am juxtaposed between the past, Mr. Webster, and the future, the children. You may not have noticed, or you may have noticed, that one of the finalists had Webster in her name. That's one of the great, great nieces of Mr. Webster. The singer who sang that marvelous song, Aliyah, is another great, great niece of Mr. Webster. And I want to congratulate all of them, everybody who took part, and I want to also congratulate those who, Yvonne and the others who organized in the Ministry of Education, the competition. So the appropriateness of the place and the appropriateness of the day, the birthday of Mr. Ronald Webster, is certainly, it is most appropriate. I want to thank all of you who have put this program together. I want to thank Stuart, who is colleague, Social Security Director in the Caribbean. And as he said, I didn't say it, but I will say it too, being Director of Social Security for even one day is not an easy task. So today, I want to also thank you for those of you who have congratulated me on the attainment of the PhD. The PhD is in Creative Leadership for Innovation and Change. And I wrote it about the people of Anguilla as being nationally creative. It's a term that maybe in years to come they will say I invented. Not that nobody knew about national creativity, but national creativity is not studied. It's usually an individual or an organization. So you may say one telephone company is more creative than another, but you do not apply it to nations. But I felt that the Anguilla Revolution, if creativity is not accepting the status quo, not accepting what exists, then the Anguilla Revolution is extreme creativity. And then the people who effected that revolution, the Anguilla people, were extremely creative. And so my study brought this out. And it is an amazing story. It is an amazing story told by Anguillians, some of you who were the participants here, about these people. We talk about the rock. There's nobody else in the world, as far as I know, who grow peas and corn or whatever in rock holes. Why? Because they don't have to. Nobody in St. Kitts has to go look for a rock hole to grow anything in, because they have soil. You throw peas on the ground, they will grow. That shows the resilience and the creativity of the Anguillan people. And so no matter what the circumstance was, they effected change, creative change. And so when Mr. Webster, having brought about Anguilla's separation from St. Kitts Nevis, and before there was a tourism economy, and before there were individual businesses other than just a handful, and therefore, before there was formal employment other than within the civil service, and a few banks and cable and wireless, a handful of banks and cable and wireless, and one or two supermarkets, saw the need for Anguillan workers and their families to be protected. I saw my daughter over there, and I remember that I was supposed to hail up my wife and children who were watching overseas. The Anguillan people and workers and their families who needed to be protected before they had the job that would provide an avenue for such protection. That is visionary, as the Premier said. So Mr. Webster had a dream that on November 3rd, 1980, the Social Security Act was passed in the House of Assembly. It was passed not without opposition from within his own party, his own colleagues sitting in the House of Assembly, who said, Anguilla isn't ready for that, it's too big for Anguilla, and other things. The record is there. But he persevered, and that is one of the characteristics of that man, that he persevered. And so today's social security system in Anguilla stands strong and sustainable after 40 years. And today I want to thank those who have helped this to come to this reality. That is, the employers and employees of Anguilla who contribute the governments of Anguilla, past and present, the members of the board, past and present, and the staff of Social Security, past and present, who have helped to bring us to where we are today. And I did the calculation some time ago. When I was in Trinidad, I did the calculations. I looked at the reserves of the Trinidad Social Security system, which has been in existence, by the way, since 1972. Ours came into effect in 1982, 10 years later. The Social Security system in Anguilla has, accounting for the difference in currencies, $3 for every dollar that the Trinidad Social Security system has. That is in a country with an oil economy, and where at some point they said money was no problem. And so every day, everybody in Anguilla, every boy and girl, do the maths, every boy and girl, man and woman in Anguilla today has on their account, and of course it's not a bank account that you can go and withdraw, about $10,000 US in the Social Security system, $26,700. So I want to say that Mr. Webster's dream, but there's so many dreams which accompany the persons who were dreamers. So the burial ground, the cemetery, is the richest place on earth because there's so many ideas and so many dreams there, but they have not come to reality. So I'm happy to have been part of bringing this dream to reality and to establishing what is today a legacy. We also heard the word legacy from the Minister Diane Kentish-Rogers, the song by Aaliyah, and several, the Premier, kept mentioning this word legacy, something which lives on after you. So we want to say today that Social Security is now 40 years old, that this is incontrovertible evidence of his legacy. His legacy lives on. But we cannot just look to the past as a legacy. We've got to look to the future. This path was chosen not just for Mr. Webster to be the final resting place of Mr. Webster and Mrs. Webster. It is to be a National Heroes Park, that is the plan. So fenced with references to other heroes and heroines in Anguilla, that you can go and you can, just like you could come here and read about Mr. Webster, here and on the western side, you'll be able to go to a spot where other heroes and heroines, not buried, but a memorial to them would be in place. So that needs to be done. Also, this place, if you look to the east, you will see that where the tamarind tree is a natural amphitheater. Natural. You didn't have to build it, but it steps down from a higher level to a lower level. And I look forward to the day when that is developed as a cultural center, a natural amphitheater. It is natural, so all you need to do is put in the seats and the stage. The rest will take care of itself. You've got all the parking you want around here, all the parking, and you can have a wonderful place for functions like this. Mr. Premier. And the future also involves our children, our young people. I read yesterday, that the Prime Minister in Grenada, who is seeking an unprecedented, I don't know how many, 5th or 6th term in office, he's saying the next time you've got to involve the young people in all aspects. And I think that was one of the things which Mr. Webster and his party campaigned on. But we got to see it. Because words, we want to go beyond words, we want to see actions. We want to involve the young people because this future, the future is theirs. So I want to also thank Mr. Petty. Reference was given to Mr. Petty and Mr. Foy and the other members of the first Social Security Board, Pastor Davis Lloyd, Mr. Alistair Richardson, and Mr. Frank Richardson, deceased, who gave leadership and guidance in the initial years of Social Security. I want to thank everybody who has come here today. I want to thank those who have given me their best wishes. And every day I ask, how is retirement? And I say, well, now I can see, I can put off for tomorrow what somebody told me I have to do today. Now I can put it off for tomorrow because I don't keep those kind of deadlines anymore. But I did keep this one. I thank you for coming, for supporting, and God's richest blessing to all of you. Thank you.
Henry Ward wrote, and I quote, "The unthankful heart discovers no mercies, but a thankful heart will find in every hour some heavenly blessings." As this ceremony was a collaborative effort between the Department of Education, the family of the Honorable late James Ronald Webster, and the Social Security Board, I would like to thank the following: the Commissioner of Police and the officers of the Royal Anguilla Police Force for standing guard, the Anguilla Cadet Corps for raising the flags, Mr. Michael Dumper Martin and Mr. Perry Hughes for your musical rendition, Ms. Reese for inviting God's presence among us this morning, the Honorable Deanne Kentish Rogers for delivering the welcome and opening remarks. For the laying of the wreath, we thank you, Mrs. Webster, and the Honorable Premier. We also thank you, the Honorable Premier, for your remarks. Ms. Alia Webster Robinson, for reminding us this morning that we need to create our legacy, a beautiful rendition. A special thank you to Mr. Webster's children, Ms. Reese and Mr. Randy, who were assisted by Susan Smith and Ms. Sandra Foy for the presentation of the certificates, and the Honorable Deanne Kentish Rogers and Mrs. Webster for presenting the prizes to the winners. Catalina Charles, the winner, and all the finalists, thank you. Ms. Charles, you represented Social Security well in your essay, and thank you for giving us a plug this morning. Ms. Jacqueline Brian Niles for your remarks and presentation to Dr. Timothy Hodge, thank you. Mr. Stuart Haynes, Director of Social Security, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, for your remarks on behalf of the Regional Social Security Directors, thank you, sir. Dr. Timothy Hodge, thank you for your response, and once again, thank you for your service to Anguilla, sir. Staff of the Department of Education and the Social Security Board, we appreciate your work behind the scenes, which certainly made today's event a success. We'd also like to thank Lowell and L.T. Hodge of Anguilla Rock Clock for your sentimental piece, handcrafted especially for Dr. Hodge. Purple Rose Florist for your wreath, Four Seas and I for the setup. I don't want to get in trouble, so I'd like for all the media houses to raise your hand, whether you're in photo or in print. We thank you for being here with us this morning. Our audience here in person and those joining via the various social media platforms, thanks for your presence. We have a treat for you, so please don't run off. With that said, we want to thank the Duncans of Frangipani Catering Services, and in advance, we want to thank Roots Bengi, who provide entertainment for us. Please enjoy the rest of the day and be safe. Thank you.
And let me thank you, Mrs. Reed, for your words of gratitude. At this point in time, and we're now at the end of our ceremony, but I think I have one task remaining for the audience that is present with us. We are celebrating the life of the late James Ronald Webster. We are celebrating our children, our young persons. We are celebrating 40 years of Social Security in Anguilla and the service of Dr. Timothy A. Hodge. I think it's only fitting as we end the ceremony that we give all the above 3 cheers. So I would lead you in those 3 cheers, and I'll ask that if we will help with amplifying our voices, we can take the mask off just for a few seconds. We can do that. If you're not comfortable doing that, that's fine as well. All right? So we'll do 3 cheers for the above. Let's get started. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. Have a blessed day, everyone. And we invite the musical presentation by Roots.
Yes, greetings on this blessed holiday. We give thanks. Yes, Roots being in the house. We're here to sanctify some music for y'all. Yes, keeping the culture alive. Yes, Chief, one thing blessed. Yes, I enjoy the day. Yes, 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 beautiful Wednesday, beautiful holiday. We gotta give thanks for the holiday. The sun is shining in all its glory today. Give thanks. Yes, we give thanks to the universe. We give thanks for life. Give thanks for everything. Yes, all the benefits, all the provisions. Yes, beautiful 96. Mr. Webster would have been 96 today. Blessed. Yes, we give thanks again for this lovely holiday. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the sun, enjoy the weather. Yes, we've got it all here. Anguilla is a place to be today. My shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me down to lie. In pastures green he leadeth me, beside the still water. He restoreth my soul. Through the paths of righteousness he leadeth me. For his name's sake, through the valley of the shadow of death, I walk, I will not fear no evil, cause Jah is with me. His rod and staff shall comfort me. Jah prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Jah anointeth my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever, forever, and forevermore. Ooh. All right. The Lord is our shepherd, we shall not want. He maketh me down to lie. In pastures green he leadeth me, beside the still water. He restoreth my soul. To the path of righteousness he leadeth me, for his name's sake. To the valley of the shadow of death I walk, I will not fear no evil, cause Jah is with me. His rod and staff shall comfort me. Jah prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Jah anointeth my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever, forever, and forevermore. Ooh, ooh, ooh. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. A little more oil in my lamp, I pray, Lord, I pray. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. Keep it burning till the break of day. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning, keep it burning. A little more oil in my lamp, I pray. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. Keep it burning till the break of day. Hear me now, a little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. Keep it burning from morning to morning. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. Keep it burning, keep it burning. In the morning, keep it burning. In the evening, keep it burning. Keep it burning, keep it burning, keep it burning. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning, keep it burning. A little more oil in my lamp, I pray. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. Keep it burning till the break of day. If I had the wings of a dove, if I had the wings of a dove, tell you what, I will fly, fly you away, fly you away, and be at rest. If I had the wings of a dove, if I had the wings of a dove, tell you what, I will fly, fly away, fly away, and be at rest. Since I have no wings, since I have no wings, since I have no wings, I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. Since I have no wings, since I have no wings, since I have no wings, I'm gonna sing, 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 sing. If I had the wings of a dove, yes I. If I had the wings of a dove, tell you now, I will fly, fly away.
Hi, good morning. So how do you feel about reaching this milestone in your life right now?
To be in this part of my life, well, I feel a good sense of achievement, of accomplishment, and satisfaction that I've reached. I've given my best, and today it is being recognized, so I'm proud of that.
Right. Is there anything else you want to say to the Anguillan community?
Yes, the Anguilla Revolution is really the history of the Anguillan people. Mr. Webster was the leader, but a leader can accomplish nothing without followers and supporters. So this is our accomplishment. Social Security is Anguilla's accomplishment. Again, you cannot have just a Social Security Act, the law, without the support of the people paying the contributions, the employers and the employees. You would not have a system. So this is, it shows the value of collaboration, of working together. And when you work together, you can achieve great things.
So what do you want the world to know about Ronald Webster?
Well, he's a great leader. He's a creative leader. He's a transformational leader. And he's left behind a tremendous legacy. I think the song is now talking about. So I think the first thing is that the Anguilla Revolution, which established Anguillan self-determination, and then the Social Security system. I think they go hand in hand, and because one is the political, and the other is the economic and social, and I think they go hand in hand. And his name will forever be linked with them both.
Thank you so much. And congratulations again.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Everybody ought to know, some people don't know. Everybody ought to know who Rastafari is. Everybody ought to know. Gaff! Gaff! Everybody ought to know, some people don't know. Everybody ought to know. Yes, sir. Who Rastafari is. Yes, sir. He's the lily of the valley. He's the bright and morning star. Yeah. He's the fairest of their thousands. Everybody ought to know by the rivers of Babylon. There we sat down. Yeah. Yeah, we wait. When we met in Zion, by the rivers of
Yes, sir.
Hi, we are with one of the sons of the late Ronald Webster. So, Rondi, how do you feel about this warm, kind words that the people have said about your deceased father?
It was wonderful, it's very wonderful, and I thank the folks for the support in this time, which is really great. Celebrating his 40 years of Social Security and this event of his birthday, and to the people who he had walked through during the revolution, in 67 when the brigade from St. Kitts Nevis, where the people, stalwart people of Angola came together, worked with him to why today we have this event today.
Is there anything else you want to tell the world about your father that nobody knows?
Well, I thank him for what he done for me, sent me to school, and for the great work he has done for Angola, and he made Angola proud from since 67 till now. And he closed his eyes in death, but his legacy live on in our hearts.
I know the Angolians appreciated his contribution to Angola, so thank you very much.
You're most welcome, and thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day. Happy Angola, happy James Ronald Webster Day.
All right, thank you.
Zion, fly away home. See one bright morning when man work is over, man will fly away home. Do you hear the word of the Rasta man say? Say Babylon, you're too gone down, gone down. Babylon, you're too gone down. Do you hear the voice of the Naya man say? Say Babylon, you're too gone down. Babylon, you're too gone down. Do you see the angels with the seven seas? Oh, yeah. Say Babylon, you're too gone down, gone down. Babylon, you're too gone down. Me say fly away home to Zion, fly away home. Say one bright morning when my work is over. Fly away, oh, Zion, fly away, oh. See one bright morning when my work is over, my will fly away home. Fly away, oh, Zion, fly away, oh. See one bright bright morning when man work is over, fly away home. Home, home to Zion, oh, we wanna get home. See home, home to Zion, oh, we wanna get home. We've been taking from Genesis right on to Revelation. We've been subject and back.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, Dr. Webster. How are you doing?
Good morning, and I'm well. Happy Webster's Day to you.
Thank you. So this occasion that we had this morning, what did it mean to you to be up there to address the Anguilla community?
This is one that every year this brings me great pride because I am on the shoulders of a giant. Mr. James Ronald Webster, father of the nation. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him in many ways. Not only that, I basically was mentored by him, but also just the history. Well, I was 4 years old at the time of the Anguilla Revolution. I remember those days. I remember the pride I had in that Anguilla was standing up to giants, and we persevered, and we won. And here we are now, new Anguilla, modern Anguilla, because of the vision of the late father of the nation, James Ronald Webster. The other thing that I like about today is that the young people with this essay competition, they get to present what they know and they've learned about Mr. Webster. So they will carry on that legacy to their children and their children's children. And then we honor Social Security that Mr. Webster started back in 1981 when he passed the legislation. And then Dr. Tim Hodge, his nephew, who was able to then for 40 years be the director of Social Security, take it from its fledgling stage to now where it has reserves of over $400 million. I mean, that in itself is, that's a great achievement, and it shows that Anguillians are resilient, that they have the potential, and they'll always come out on top.
That is a great accomplishment. What do you want the world to know about Ronald Webster?
I want the world to know that Mr. Webster was just like us. He was, born lowly means, poor, big family, and he went out, made his living, and then he didn't forget Anguilla. He came back to Anguilla to make Anguilla better for the people, his people that he left behind. And he helped to raise the specter of Anguillians to have that opportunity to reach their full potential. That's what I want the world to know, that he is, to me, he's a hero. To me, he's a patriot. To me, he was a leader.
Okay, yes, he was. So thank you so much, Dr. Webster.
All
right.
Thank you. Happy Webster's Day.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us on this stream on the Ronald Webster Day. And we have seen a lot of history and what Ronald Webster was all about and what he meant to Anguilla. So thank you so much for tuning in. And this is Clean Stream, and we're signing out.